Hey, how are you?
I saw the lies you were saying about the Apostle Paul. Was it last week?
Yeah, I said it again as well.
Huh?
I said it again as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So now all of those lies, do you have Bible verses for them?
Like what? What lie particularly speaking
Most
about?
of them are.
Yeah. So which one? But you want one particular one? Couldn't be that I just lied everything. What is that you feel like I lied about?
Well,
What's your name first of all? My name is Hamza.
Michael.
Michael, nice to meet you, Michael.
Yeah.
How's your day?
Huh?
How's your day?
It was okay. I spoke to another Muslim about the Bible. We discussed a few things.
Mm-hmm. So what part do you feel like? What is it that I lied about?
Well, you were saying loads of stuff. Okay, one good one is you said
Good
that.
lie.
Yeah. You said that the Apostle Paul fell out with the disciples.
Yeah, in incident of Antioch.
Okay, you give me.
You know.
For that? No,
Christian.
Yeah.
You know the incident of Antioch.
I know what happened. Your version obviously is different from what I know.
Okay.
That's why you have to give your explanation for it.
Yeah.
Because obviously when I read it, everything.
No, but if you tell me, then we can get. Because the only reason is I don't want it to go too long. Do you understand? Because I'm doing dawah. Do you understand?
Yeah, but when you were lying to that guy, you seem to
You keep saying lying, but this is I don't believe. I'm like, you may think I've been very gracious and not say that, oh, it's a lie, it's a lie. Do you understand? Then I ask you what lie. So that's what I'm saying. Establish what is that you're saying. No. In fact, establish what is. The onus is on the person who makes the claim. But
no, so you said that they fell out.
So I've been very nice to you.
Yeah. So
I've been
I'm
courteous.
saying they didn't.
Okay, so when he says that I opposed Cephas to his face, he didn't fall out. When he says in the incident of Antioch, are you familiar with the Bible?
Yes.
So you know the incident of Antioch?
Yeah, just carry on.
Okay, so what happened in the incident of Antioch?
No, that's when Peter.
Who's Peter's other name? What's Peter's other name? What's Peter's other name?
No, it's Peter.
No, it's not.
Cephas.
Yes, okay, go on.
Yeah. So
because the verse says Cephas.
Yeah.
So stood up to Cephas' face.
Yeah, because
he was being a hypocrite. Because he was being a hypocrite.
Yeah.
So you don't see that as a confrontation.
Yeah, he had a confrontation.
And then Barnabas leaves him as well.
But the point we're talking about is falling out. That's the important bit.
Yeah, the falling out, yeah.
So I want to know about the falling out part.
Yeah. So he argued with him. I never use the word falling out. It's not in my language, But falling out.
No, but that's what you said.
I argued with him.
That's what you said to the other person.
I don't know. You'd have to show me that. But I know he argued with him. But we only hear his side of the story. So, for example, when he says, I confronted Cephas to his face. I confronted Cephas with... Oh, no, not this one. Not this one. Al-Dawah, huh? Oh, are you recording me?
Yeah.
Oh, is that what you're up there saying? So, okay, give us a space. Okay. So this is the debate.
Well, that's what I said, because you're on video.
No, but you came here and I heard you've been lying. I honestly didn't know if you I thought something might be wrong.
I thought it sounded like
you know what I'm saying. Yeah. So what's your name again?
Michael.
So Michael, you're saying dodgy you this one, man. So you're saying I said everything was lies. Now when I asked you what is lies, you want me to tell you what the lies is. Tell me what lies that I've lied, Michael.
I just said to you, you said they fell out. That's
what
you said.
That's I said yes. So did he argue with Cephas?
Yeah, he had a.
Okay, done. Next lie, go on.
What does falling out mean?
I don't recall using that language, but let's say he argued. Let's say I clarified, yeah?
Okay, fine.
Falling out doesn't differ from argue. It just seems like this is more my lexicon.
Yes.
Now, did he argue in regards to with the men that James sent against him, yeah? The Jews that were with him, Barnabas and Cephas, did he argue with them?
No, you're talking about, which incident are you talking about?
When the men from James, come to Paul. And he's eating with the Gentiles. And when Cephas sees the men from James, he stands up to set him side away from these Gentiles. Do you recall?
Let's go to the verse, because that's not what happened.
Look, if you don't know, no offense, if you don't know the Bible, I can't
No, what you're saying is what happened, though. That's the point. Okay, I know it isn't, because I've read the verse.
Have you got a Bible on you?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. It wouldn't mean Corinthians. It's either Galatians or it's Galatians or Acts.
No, it's Galatians 2.
Yeah, it can't be a thing. Corinthians. Okay, here you go. Galatians 2. Yeah. When Cephas, who? Peter came to Antioch, I opposed him.
Yeah.
What does oppose mean? Not, you're saying I lied. Yeah, you're saying I said he fell out. What does oppose mean? I'll read more. He opposed him, I opposed him to his face because he stood condemned. Galatians is written by who? By Paul. So we don't hear the other side of the argument. For before certain men came from James. What did I say, James? You said, I think you're confused, Hamza. That's not the case. It's exactly as I said it. Certain men came from James. Who is James?
He's one of the elders.
He's one of the pillars of the church. James and who else? There's three of them, the pillars of the church. Who are they?
James, John,
and Peter, the three pillars of the church. So he said, for before certain men came from James. So that's how we know James is the leader of the Jerusalem church. He used to eat with the Gentiles, but when he arrived, he began to draw back and separate himself from the Gentiles because he was afraid of those who belonged to the circumcision group. Let's go to the next verse. And the other Jews joined in his hypocrisy, so that they by the hypocrisy, even Barnabas was led astray. So am I right in my recollection, or you still think I'm wrong that he opposed him? Okay, so what does your answer? That he fell out with.
The falling out.
Okay.
They had an argument. So when people argue, do they automatically fall out?
You keep saying falling out. I'm clarified if that's what you. I don't even understand. Do you understand the point that I was made? Is that he argued with them. And here it says he opposed Cephas to his face for his hypocrisy, and Barnabas and the other Jews. Do you get it?
So if you did say falling out, you take that back.
I have to see that. If I no, but what is it you're understanding from that you're trying to base your argument on? What is it that you're?
I've had arguments, but we don't fall out.
Well, this is it. This is it. One can suppose that they fell out completely. Yes, because from the year 60 onwards, we don't hear anything from Paul, do we?
We don't hear anything.
No, we don't.
Right.
Do we hear anything from Paul?
Have you read 2 Peter? What Peter said about Paul?
Paul did not offer 2 Peter.
No. What did Peter say about Paul?
What was my claim just now? What was my claim? What did I just tell you?
Which one? About?
That we don't know. Basically, we don't know what happened to the end of the life of Paul. We don't know. What we have is Acts, which was written at the end of the 1st century. Now, in Acts, which is written by Luke, or so they say is written by Luke, it could clearly tell us what happened. Because the Acts of the Apostle is about the life of Paul.
No, it's about multiple people.
It's called Acts of the Apostles, but the main character in Acts of the Apostles is Paul. If you read it
later on, at the beginning.
Luke, yes. So the main character is who?
Of what?
Please, thank you very much. I can't have a discussion with you not being genuine.
I'm answering your question.
No, anyone who knows the Bible and Acts, the main protagonist of Acts is Paul. It should not be difficult for you.
From which chapter? Do you want me to tell you?
What did I just say? What did I? No, repeat to me. No, look, Michael, I don't like this type of disingenuous discussions. It wastes my time. I said, who is the main protagonist of Acts? I never say which chapter. I said of Acts as a whole. Who is it?
From Acts 13 onwards, it's Paul. I'm giving you the answer.
No, you're acting like a child.
No, because you don't know. That's why.
What's that? What I don't know?
No.
What's it?
You don't know that most of Acts, up to the beginning, is about Peter and John.
Yes, I know. I've read Acts.
So why did you ask me that question?
I asked the main character, and you said which chapter. I never asked you which chapter. You changed my original question to suit your purpose. Anyway, Paul, if you want to know, the Acts doesn't mention about the death of Paul. It stops mysteriously, so we don't actually know what happens to Paul.
Yeah, but remember,
the first Christians ignored him entirely. Up unto Justin Martyr, we don't even hear about him. His works. You asked a question. You want the answer?
Yeah, but the problem is.
So it could be it could be very well that Paul did fall out with the disciples completely, and we don't hear from him. What we do hear about Paul is his side of the story. The New Testament, 27 books, composed 13 of them. That's half of the New Testament by Paul, but we don't hear the other side. What we do have in this incident is two books. We have Galatians, which is written by Paul, and the other side of the story is Luke, who is the traveling companion of
Paul.
But we don't have the story of what happened in the Jerusalem Council from James, not the Jerusalem Council. We don't. Listen to my words, careful. Careful. We don't have the account of what happened in the Council of Jerusalem by James, by Peter. We have it from who? Acts, which is Luke, a companion of Paul, and from Galatians. So is that clear? So which part of what I said was a lie?
No. So essentially, if you did,
You say that I lied.
No, I just want to
I'm
make
just
sure.
asking you.
So if you said they fell out,
Okay, no,
take that back.
no. I said it's still possible. I said it's still possible. I don't even know.
No, according to direct evidence that you read, that's what I'm going by. So if you
Okay, let me show you more. Because this is one of those silly arguments that get nowhere. That's what I'm saying. It's like even if I prove to you, you're still gonna come up with a different one. Yeah. How many churches were there that left him?
Hamza,
Yeah.
However many.
I just have one question.
Yeah.
Is Jesus the creation or the creator?
Yeah, they want to know about this stuff, like this incident of Antioch, which I was talking about as well. Yeah.
That's all, thank you.
If you just
You're searching on Google, bro. Wait for the question to get answered.
from where the Bible, I don't have the Bible app. I'm not a Christian.
No, which one you after? I can find it.
When all the churches left him. Huh? See, that's what I'm saying. I don't think you know. No, he says all of the churches of Asia have left me. You don't know this is what I'm saying. It's difficult, Michael, to speak to a person if they don't know the Bible.
Yeah, but you have to speak to that guy.
No. But they don't try to argue from their whims like you just argue. You said you said they made this so smart aleck comment, yeah. Oh, you use a Google, you don't use the Bible. I go straight to the Bible. But then when I mention something of the Bible, you don't know about it.
No, the reason why I said that is because of
You acted like as in what I said wasn't there, but it was there.
I did it with smart.
Oh, so you know what I'm saying is
It's
there.
recorded, so everyone can find it.
Yeah. So look. You know, 2 Timothy 1:15 make it easy for you. You know that everyone in the province of Asia has deserted me. Why have they deserted him?
Alright, what's that 2 Timothy?
No offense, I need to give dawah. This is the reason I'm here.
So you're fine lying to that guy, but now
You keep
someone
lying,
comes-
yeah, but we've had plenty of people come. No offense, I've spoken to you. You said that when Paul says he opposed Cephas to his face, you asked me when did he argue, or you said when did he fall out? Yeah. But what's the point you're making? The greater point you're making? What's the point? What?
No, it's all the stuff you were saying to that guy about Paul, and even Dawood was joining in.
But you haven't made a point. That's what I'm saying. Paul. He didn't agree with the apostles. You see, in the Council of Jerusalem, do you know what the Council of Jerusalem is?
Yeah, when they're talking about the Gentiles.
Okay, why are they talking about the Gentile
Well,
child?
because people are accusing Paul of saying that the Jews shouldn't circumcise their children.
Is Paul doing this?
Huh?
Is Paul doing that? Telling them that they shouldn't circumcise? I want to know your opinion.
No,
He's not doing that.
no.
Okay. Is he telling the people that the law is not important, from what you understand from the readings?
Yeah, but remember the council is about
No,
him
I'm-
telling Jews not to circumcise their children.
No, I'm asking you in regards, because the James is saying that we're hearing that you're telling people that you're to move away from the laws of Moses.
Yeah, the Jews.
The Jews.
Yeah.
So is this true or not?
No. But you realize that James agrees with that? Do you want to
So
read that?
now, why is it then James doesn't argue back? Why is it James says here, yeah? Answer me this, yeah? Look at all these thousands of Jews who are jealous for the law.
Yeah.
Yeah? Why is it that Paul is told to shave off his hair and do the sacrifices, and he doesn't?
So that they can see that you
That
do follow
is-
the law.
Okay, so this is the point, that the law still exists for the Jews.
Yeah.
And Paul, he's saying that the law is not fully for the Jews. He's saying the circumcision is not only of flesh. Yeah, he talks it down. He said you should not get circumcision. Eating with the Gentiles in this incident. One second. In the incident of Antioch, who is he condemning? Cephas, who is a Jew.
Yeah.
What is he condemning him from? Eating with the Gentiles, because their food is unclean. One second, the
No,
food
but
is
not-
unclean. And who has
not-
come to them? James has come to them.
Yeah.
So yes, he's condemning Jews for not following for following the law. He says I stood up to him because he was a hypocrite. Do you understand?
Yeah, the reason he stood up to him is because Peter assimilated with the Jews because he didn't stay and eat with the Gentiles when the Jews were there.
Yes, because he knew that the laws were still bound.
No,
but
it's nothing to do with the law.
of course it is. Why did Peter stand up then? Why did Peter stand up?
Stand up for what?
What do you mean for... no offense here, I don't mean to be rude here, but the conversation goes nowhere.
No, it's your question.
It's not. Why did Cephas... You act like you don't know nothing. That's why it's hard to do
No, it's the way
it.
you're
Why
saying
did
it.
Cephas stand up when men from James came to him?
No, it's before. The men from James came because of what happened. So
When the men from James came, it says that Cephas stood up. Why did Cephas stand up? This is the last time I'm asking. If you're going to pretend you don't know what I'm asking you, let's leave it short.
He said, fearing them which were of the circumcision. That's what the text says.
Yes, exactly what I said. They came and he stood up. Now, why did he stand up? That's the next question.
No, because he says, the Jews separated, so fearing them. Yeah, so he...
Come on, Michael. Don't act like you don't know. This is just wasting my time and your life.
You don't want to answer my question. I'm answering yours just to be nice.
You're not answering mine just to be nice.
Yeah, because remember I said about... Will you withdraw what you said? If you said that you did say...
Okay, so this is my position. You want to honestly know.
Yeah.
I feel that Paul, did argue with the disciples. Not only did he argue with the disciples, he argued with his own churches. And he told them that they have to listen to him. This is my honest position.
They have to listen to
they
him?
have to listen to him.
Where do you get that?
Are you saying it doesn't exist?
No, you wouldn't order them to listen to him.
Okay. I may not be an apostle for them. I am an apostle for you. He says, if you hear gospel other than the gospel I teach you, then this gospel is wrong. Follow my gospel. Yeah, you know.
I think you have to get that verse. No, so
I don't mean to be rude,
the way
Michael.
you're quoting it just sounds very strange.
I don't mean to be rude, Michael.
Yeah.
But it's like every time I'm quoting something, it's like you want.
Yeah, because it sounds strange.
Okay,
so that's why I need the actual text.
That's what I'm saying. That means I don't think you're fully acquainted with the Bible to have this level of discussion.
Yeah, the way you're saying it, that's the point. I had to do the same with Paul
I don't know if
Williams.
you're being. Honestly, I don't know if you're being disingenuous, Michael. Yeah, but no problem, innit? So he says, I am a apostle to you. I might not be an apostle to them. Is that what you're saying that you're not familiar with, yeah? Michael, Michael, you're wasting my time. I'm sorry.
I know, but
Please, Michael, please. Once I'm off this place here, I'll speak to you. Once I'm off this place. This place here is because I'm giving out free material. If someone,
But you were there when you were talking to the other guy for a long time. No, it was...
was it on this?
Yeah, it was right here, and Dawood was
Yeah, but
standing
Michael,
beside him.
this conversation takes so much time. Do you agree with
Well,
that?
he did with the other guy as well.
Yeah, but he understood when I was saying something. Yeah, he was understood.
going around in
I'm telling you something that it seems like you're unfamiliar, but I feel that you know. To be honest,
It's not. It's very simple. He's just saying. Sorry to interrupt you. I don't want to be rude.
No.
It's genuine. It's just. It doesn't sound
First
familiar.
Corinthians,
What
yeah,
you're
that's what I'm saying.
And he's asking for
that's what I'm saying. But you know, because I'm here for a purpose.
Go on, man.
Look, this is
tell
not
him
the
more,
first.
don't
This is like the third verse I'm showing him.
Go on.
It says here, even though I may not be apostle to others, surely I am to you. This is what I say, and it says it. Is exactly as I quoted it?
Yeah.
Did you quote if? Well, we got the recording at least, so we can tell if he said if, isn't it?
Please, Michael, I don't mean to be rude.
No, it's fine, because I just wanted to have
You
this...
remind me of Paperboy.
No, but
very similar
the
to
reason why I wanted to have this conversation is just
You
because...
don't want to,
It's just because of what you said to this guy. So at least now you know that when you say
No, you
stuff
haven't
about
established
Paul,
anything.
No, all I'm saying is that when you say...
Look, Paul, he argued with, for example, they were following, Paul is here, he can actually help me. Where is it, which letter of Paul is it? He's talking to his ministry saying, do not go to a different gospel, stick to the gospel I preached to you.
He came in and changed
That'd be an Acts or in
No, it was a London letter, I think it's Philippians.
Galatians.
Galatians, yes. Galatians. So let's go to Galatians.
Talk about Jewish Christians who disagree with him.
Yes, exactly.
James.
Okay.
Paul's defending his gospel, my gospel, he said.
Yeah, my gospel.
His own personal gospel. Against those, obviously, the Jewish Christians who
here we go.
knew James.
So no other gospel. I am astonished that you, and he's talking to Galatians, are so quickly deserting the one who called you to live in the grace of Christ and are turning to a different gospel. And he goes, which is really no gospel at all. Evidently some people are throwing you into confusion and are trying to pervert the gospel of Christ. But even if we or an angel from heaven should preach a gospel other than the one we preach to you, let them be under God's curse. An angel under God's curse. This is Paul. Also?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, man.
So what's the point?
Yeah. So the point is that there were people that Paul was arguing with in even his own churches. So there were parts of his church were going to other gospels, and this is why he had to address them.
Yeah, it
and
looks.
This was my whole point.
Well, it looks like they were being misled, and he's trying to correct them.
No, but you could say it's misled, if you see it through the lens of a Christian. You understand? From the lens of a Christian. From here is that you have Paul. He teaches a Gentile Christianity, which is completely different from the Jerusalem church, which the disciples are teaching.
No, it doesn't say that. It doesn't say that.
No, it doesn't say this.
All he's saying is that you're being misled.
I know.
Listen to me. This is my gospel. It doesn't mean he wrote the gospel. He's saying what I know is how it should be.
So this verse doesn't say that.
Is that how you understood?
Yeah, that wasn't a claim what we said.
He didn't get the gospel from any man. He got it directly from
Jesus.
A revelation.
A vision.
But the gospel that he preached is very different from the gospel the apostles and Jesus himself preached.
Where does it say that?
No, it's not one single place.
Galatians chapter 1.
Please show us, if you don't mind.
This is. Look. And so.
I thought you would know.
This is it's not as hard.
No, it's because the way you quote it, you quote it in a different way from what's written.
No, I quoted it word for word. You saw it, yeah? I said the gospel. I might not be a girl.
All you've shown. Sorry,
please. I don't mean to be rude.
No, you carry on.
Because I quoted something. He said the way you quoted it sounded like it's not from exactly how I quoted it was there.
Right.
Now you mentioned something, but this is the methodology is slightly wrong. So you said, where did it show that a verse where what the disciples teach is different from what Paul's teaching. So it's not a single verse. It's the whole of what we get from Galatians.
You have to get all the context.
Exactly. So what we know is historically. So it's this is why it takes a long time to build up the discussion.
And you have to think like a Muslim as well.
Oh, sorry, man.
You have to think like a Muslim, and then
basically your answers are scattered everywhere. There's no answer. So you haven't given us an answer.
That's wrong. You're taking it wrong. He's basically saying I have to give you various many points for you to understand it. I can't just give you one line and say this. So thinking like a Muslim means we actually do our research.
No,
there's a Jerusalem.
That's what a Muslim does. They do their research.
Yeah, and then
if you want all of them.
No, we don't twist it. We tell you exactly what it says.
So Jesus came, and in Matthew it says, "I've not come to abolish the law of the prophets. I've come to fulfill the law." He says, "Whoever breaks the law, he should be called the least in the kingdom. Whoever follows the law and teaches others to follow the law." And I can show you this if you think it sounds different.
No, you're right what you're saying.
It should be called great in the heaven. I say unto you, unless your deeds exceed the deeds of the Pharisees, ye should not see the kingdom. You should not see the kingdom of heaven.
Correct.
So Jesus actually taught the law, and not only that, the disciples followed the law up until even after the death of you say it's the death of Jesus. Now, what happened was Paul on the road to Damascus. I'm saying it very briefly, but it's a very long thing.
No, I had a vision.
On the road, he had a vision. And this vision wasn't shared by his companions who was with him.
Hang in there. He heard the voice.
He heard the voice.
And they heard the voice as well.
So
that was shared.
Reading.
So that was shared. No, just same verses there.
No. So there's
further down, they heard it as well.
So
they did share that experience. But he only saw the vision. He was one and he saw the vision.
So there's different accounts. There's different accounts. More than one account.
From different perspectives.
Because he fell off. He had the vision. He heard the voice. Further down you read, they heard the voice as well.
Well, listen.
Yeah, because you're going from Luke and Paul twice.
But what's the point
Luke
anyway?
gave it once and Paul gave it twice.
Yeah, so what's the point anyway?
Yeah,
Carry on.
point, and they're different.
No need to be distracted.
No, but
Carry on
you
anyway.
stop. But the different accounts is the point. One account he says he sees it. One account he says he hears it. Yeah. The other account is blinded or something. The other guys don't see in the one account. The
That's not a problem.
Yeah, no, but
if one gospel says he saw and another gospel says he heard, it could be both. Just one didn't mention the hearing, one the other one, you know. But carry on.
So
What's the point?
it's a large point. Is that what he preaches differs from what the apostles teach. So anyway, he doesn't see Jesus in flesh. The apostles, which were chosen by Jesus in flesh, did, and they followed the law as Jesus also followed the law. They also did. But Paul, on the other hand, he goes on, and some say this is called antinomianism. I'm not antinomianism. Teaches, it doesn't believe in law, or not the law that Jesus teaches, the laws of Moses, To differ, some people have different varying degrees as to what part of the law. So now Jesus, what we understand is when the disciples hear of Paul and his teaching, they're very concerned. So James in Galatians, and it's found in Acts, convenes what's known as the Council of Jerusalem, and he tells Paul off. He says, "We hear that you're teaching the people, not to hold the law."
I agree with you.
So this is the accusation that even apparently according to these testimonies, we're hearing of Paul. But Michael is saying, no, where is that? No one claims that about Paul not teaching. But this very council is to resolve that issue. That we're hearing that you're telling people not to follow the law of Moses. But this is different from what Jesus taught and the disciples taught. So this council is now convened. It's known as the Council of Jerusalem. And in it, Paul is subject to the law himself, the law that apparently that he's trying to break. So they're saying that, James and I are saying, all of these Jews who are zealous for the law, they need to see that you yourself have an apostate and there's no truth in this claim. So shave off your hair and do the rituals. And he done the rituals, which means he himself is also subject to the law. Now what Paul says, he says, unto the Gentile I become a Gentile. I'm not sure if he recalls it.
Yes, and unto the Jews I become a Jew.
So he's speaking with the double tongue here. He says also, if by my lie the truth is abounded, then why do you judge me as a sinner? Now why would someone make that disclaimer?
Okay, hang in there. That's good up to now. Thank you. Carry on. What was the apostles'
Paul, now, the New Testament is made of 27 books, and 13 of them is Paul's writings. Half of those Paul's writings are known as pseudepigrapha. We don't know if we can ascertain if Paul is the author. So they say maybe it was written in Paul's name. Now we have about 6 or so that we can say from stylistics it does belong to Paul.
See, the thing is,
that was my contention. But he says,
hang in there. So you've done very good. Thank you.
You just said there.
Basically, apostles are teaching something. Paul's teaching something else. Then he goes and he says, he contradicts himself. I'm to the Gentiles, but then I'm a Gentile, and I'm also to the Jews,
and he doesn't mind.
And in Jerusalem and all. Now you say your point.
No, so what you just said there about the Paul's writing, is that unanimous from the Christian scholars?
Modern contemporary scholars have a field. Do you want me to answer? Or
just unanimous. That's what I want to know.
Nothing in Christian scholarship is unanimous. I think you know this. Do you know this? Do you know this?
Yeah.
Well, they're unanimous. That was the resurrection.
No. So you should say
no, even in the resurrection, they're not.
No, you don't. No. All right, carry on. Carry on.
So this idea, that they have to be unanimous on a topic is not true.
No, but then you should say, when you say about Paul, that is not unanimous among them. What you said about his writings being pseudepigrapha?
The majority of modern contemporary scholars agree in the field of pseudepigraphy that half of, in fact, I'll show you, because I think you're quite argumentative. You come across as very nice.
No,
but you argue, and then I have to show you.
He's very gentle, straight.
He's very gentle.
Don't say that. That's
but the
wrong.
problem is that he opposes every point, and then I show him, but he still doesn't accept it.
No, well, ask him. Do you agree? What is it you don't agree?
No. He's saying, don't say unanimous. He never said unanimous.
Yeah, exactly.
He said majority of the scholars.
Now, I didn't say that. I never said unanimous. But majority of scholars agree that most of the writings of Paul in the New Testament are pseudonymous. They don't belong to him. It's called pseudepigrapha. Even Bart Ehrman writes a book called Forge explaining this.
Please.
But I'm going to show him.
Not respect.
But you know,
one second.
but do you know what that means?
Yeah, but
so many people say to
no, but this is so known. This is so known.
He says a lot of things which are very wrong about him. Benway, carry on.
Let me show this point because this is the one where
you have to understand what that means. What he's saying. What he's saying. All he means is that someone's copied Paul's writings and written them down in their own style.
He never said that.
No, but that's what he means.
He said 13. He said 13 scriptures. He said 13 scriptures are implied to be Paul's inside the Bible, right?
Yeah.
That's out of 27, so at least half of it is implied to be Paul.
Yeah.
Now, only half of that has been verified by a majority of the scholars that it belongs to Paul due to the handwriting. The other half still hasn't been verified.
It wouldn't be based on handwriting.
Yeah, but we're happy not with scholars. We're happy with the church fathers.
No, but he's correcting me.
The community
but
that grew from there, the eyewitnesses that were there.
His contention with me. His contention with me is that I didn't say that unanimous. You know, I say that unanimous, but I didn't say this.
No.
Look, if this topic of pseudepigrapha is well established in scholarly circles, you don't have to believe it. I believe that scholars endeavor throughout their life to come to a certain point. Every clothing you have in the basis of a scholarly endeavor. The floor that you walk on is based on scholarly endeavor. They need to get biologists, even your feet, orthodontists, bring ideas together so then they can have a holistic idea on understanding. So this idea is like when you say church fathers, they are scholars. They were the first scholars. Yeah, Eusebius, Athanasius, they were all scholars. Yeah, they were scholars. You can't say they weren't scholars.
But
going back to it anyway. So the topic of pseudepigrapha, if you don't know, it's a very interesting point, yeah, that books of the Bible are not really from the people who is attributed. And some of them, for example,
why'd you say that?
This is not me saying, that's what I'm saying.
Eyewitnesses and eyewitnesses to eyewitnesses.
So let's stick to one.
And the community, they named them books right at the very beginning. They attribute the names of who wrote them.
So we'll get to that question. Let me just finish the thing, yeah? So what are the pseudepigrapha? You could type this in any Google search, yeah? Be judicious in your sources.
I'm going to call the police in a minute.
But you have to be judicious.
It's good. You know what's good? You know a lot, you remember every point and you're carrying on with your points.
But this is the problem, you know, when you ask a question, sometimes it goes off so far in, and then I'm told to justify a point that I don't even believe in. That's why I'm trying to understand what is that he's come to me today, Michael, he said everything I said was lies. Then when I quote the Bible, he said this, I don't remember it as like that. But then I show him, he doesn't back down and say, sorry, you're right. He's not saying that in this, you heard this. And then now, when it comes to
maybe because doesn't believe.
Maybe. But this is what I'm saying, it's not beneficial for me to argue with a debater who's not willing to understand. Do you see my point of view?
Doesn't matter. You should say for the camera's sake, say your points. And there's millions of people that are going to, there's about 10 million people.
It's not millions.
So pseudepigrapha.
Let everyone make their own mind up.
So
what did you want? Cuddle him and tell him, oh, I'm sorry. Just say your point, don't worry, be happy, man.
Epistle to the Ephesians.
Yeah.
Epistle to the Colossians, epistle to the second epistle to the
Thessalonians.
My pronunciation is all bad, yeah.
All Greekness, yeah.
All Greek,
Greek.
Yeah. You're Greek, yeah? First epistle to Timothy, the pastoral letters, yeah. Second epistle to Timothy and epistle to Titus. These 6 books are referred to as the detailed Pauline letters, meaning secondary, standing in the corpus of Paul's writings. How many? 6.
Yes.
How many of these books do you have in the Bible? 13. The other ones are disputed, and this is what the word that I always use, they're disputed.
Now who disputes them?
The scholars.
And which scholars? Modern day scholars?
Modern day scholars, yeah.
Why weren't they disputed the early church fathers and
so
the scholars
they did.
before?
So this is a good question that you also...
No, it's very important.
Yeah, I'll answer this. I don't mind you asking me questions, but it has to be generalized. Michael's general questions was that...
There's things I don't know, I say I don't know.
We learn from each other,
Yeah, and just if you say I don't know.
Okay, just give me any name. George.
What's your name?
So, Hamza.
Please.
So I like the way your line of questions.
No, it's very important. Sorry to interrupt you.
No.
If you say I don't know, it doesn't mean you're wrong. It just means you don't know at that point.
Thank you.
And same with me.
Thank you.
We're
This is
just
why I don't like
learning and we're
debaters
discussing.
here.
Yeah.
This is why I don't like debaters here. It's like they
It's all
expect
ego.
everyone to be an ego, a walking encyclopedia. So they come
Yeah.
research and they come with it.
Yeah,
I don't do. You watch my debates. I don't put people down. All my discussions, I try not to, because that's for me. That's something like.
all right, but leave that.
anyway,
Leave that.
So
Before you carry
how do
on.
we know? So your last question in regards
No,
to
the question is something else.
One second. So Hebrews was once upon a time believed to be a
No. My point is, sorry I'm interrupting you, because I know when you carry on, I'm going to forget, because I've got a very short memory.
All of us.
I've forgotten. No. Right, one minute.
I
The scholars. The early scholars, the early days, there was no dispute. There weren't dispute.
That was your question, yeah. Why didn't they dispute?
They didn't dispute this.
Okay,
This
so
was all
some of the early-
authenticized in the early church fathers,
When you say early
the
church
councils,
fathers,
the
yeah,
councils.
this is good
This was all agreed.
This is good
Why
question.
now these modern scholars? Only when it was the World War, the German scholars, they bring up other things and they're refuted. You've got Bart Ehrman,
Sure.
allegedly he's a scholar,
So
he's
I
not a
agree with
bloke,
your
he's an
question.
idiot.
I got your question.
Answer me that point
Good,
now.
okay. So now when you say the early scholars, he's referring to from the 4th century. This is more than 300 years. I'll explain, trust
Which
me.
scholars?
I'll explain, trust me. Let me have some kind of time.
Take your time.
Yeah, just
I
to build
apologise.
no problem.
Carry on.
George. Courteous gentleman. So in the first...
No, go on.
So,
So,
so the first 300 years there were different canons, and not even canons, sorry. There were different writings held by different groups of people who would be identified now as Christians, but they weren't Christians before. They're Jewish people, majority of them, who believed in Jesus, and on the other hand there were Pauline Christians who were Hellenistic and they believed in Jesus. So they're not Christians as we know, because Christianity is a developed thought that came afterwards, and I explain that later as well. After the death of Jesus, as you said, there were multiple people who believed in Jesus, not because something was written, so because of oral tradition. After the oral tradition, this is why scholars like Streeter, and it's generally accepted, there are 4 different levels to the compilation of the Gospels. One is the oral tradition, then it is the collections, then it is the proto-Gospels, and then it is the Gospels. So this is the period we're first talking about, the oral tradition, and then afterwards there were collections like the Gospel of Thomas, which is just a gospel of saying something, and the Q1, which is just a gospel of saying. Now there was different groups with different books, and each of them argue. How do we know this? We have what you call as heresiologists like Epiphanes, Irenaeus, Athanasius, Eusebius, that argue about these different types of sects. They're writing much later on, but they're looking back through their Trinitarian lens and saying that these sects are wrong. But at the time, because there was no Bible or collection of books that any one Christian can say that group is wrong, because the collection of the Bible came afterwards. What spurred it on is interesting. Someone called Marcion of Rome in the year 150 came with his own compilation of Bible, the first Bible that we have of canon. He had all the letters of Paul, and he had the Gospel of Luke. So this shows that some of the groups, early ones, which you can even say as scholars, because he himself had many following, he cancelled out the Old Testament, because Paul Marcion, who was a disciple,
I know.
yeah, you know exactly, he believed that only these books were divine. He rejected John, he rejected Matthew, he rejected Mark. So it's only when you come to the year 331 when Eusebius says Constantine issued a verdict for him to do or authorize him to collect an official record of all the inspired books. Whether he completed that, we don't know. But what we have, the earliest list that we have in the completion that has all the 27 books of today is called in the 8th Athanasian Easter letter, where he writes all of the 27 books. But even at that time, what they accepted, we no longer accept. For example, Hebrews, almost consensus amongst modern scholars that Hebrews, and some of the scholars of back then also, did not believe Paul wrote it. So scholars from that early church fathers did not believe Paul. In fact, even if we go back, just modern recent history, Martin Luther King called the Epistle of James the Epistle of Straw. And the reason is James was supposed to be a brother of Jesus and like the head of the early Jerusalem church. He says that there's his focus of the book of James, is the life of Jesus, the teaching of Jesus. But Christianity isn't much of the teaching or life of Jesus. It's about the birth, the death, the resurrection. And that's why Martin Luther said that this book is a epistle of straw, because it doesn't teach about theology, it doesn't talk about resurrection. But what we know is that these things must have not been important, because in documents such as Q, in documents such as the Gospel of Thomas, and what they were sourced from as a common source sayings, there is no resurrection. These are the earliest strata of writings that we have. There's no resurrection. It shows, even if the resurrection did happen hypothetically, it was not important for these communities. When James was writing, it clearly was not important for his community. When Mark was writing, because Mark finishes in chapter 16, verse 9, it did not have any resurrection. It was just an empty tomb. The woman's left and they told no one. But then afterwards, someone forged the ending of Mark, which is later appended to it. In Mark, it clearly shows there's a community who did not think it was too important to have. Are you still recording? Huh? No, it's good. It's good. Do you see the way he replies?
Him, man. He's on a roll.
Do you see the way he replies? Like, obviously.
Go on,
like,
carry on. You're on a roll. Carry on.
Why do you speak to me like that?
Carry on. Don't. Why do you allow yourself to be distracted? You was on a roll.
Yeah, no, you've been playing.
Don't be sidetracked.
Yeah.
Carry
so
on.
there are books that early church fathers argued about, early communities argued about. There were compilations to this day. The Protestants and the Catholics have different amounts of books in it. So we can't just say simply there was a unanimous decision that these are all of the books of the Bible. It never was like that. It never has been like that. And some extra material just for food for thought if you want. What do you want to say?
No, put the cream on the cake.
You know, there's a philosopher called Seneca, Now, he was a famous philosopher. Now, people want to know, like, if Paul's writings are so famous, then how come that philosophers like Seneca don't know about Paul? You know what happened? Letters were forged from Paul to Seneca and Seneca to Paul in order to boost the credibility of Paul, to show that he interacted with philosophers of his age. But the reality, these are forged writings. And we know this because we've got many computerized methods of detection, such as stylistics, for example. It measures the length of sentences, because when you technically when you write, some people, for me, can go on and write a long sentence, 40 words per sentence. Other people just stick to 10 lines, 10 words a sentence. I use punctuation different from how you use punctuation. Michael said, you said in the video that Paul fell out with the disciples. I'm not sure if I did. It wasn't a big thing for me. But I said it's unusual because I don't use that language. But I can see a possibility if I had read something, then I regurgitate it. So I give him that. But I question him if he really said that. Because this is the same thing how we can determine Paul's writings are Paul's writings or they're not his writings. Stylistics, corpus linguistics, the study of history, where he was when it was written. And so going back to your question, there was never unanimity or consensus. Early scholars, later scholars, modern scholars. My man John.
So I'm going to be a Muslim from now on.
Inshallah.
Do what you're going to do.
Inshallah.
Do what you're going to do.
Well, you ask me a question.
Now let me answer you, Thank you. That was a general overview of a lot of things, So, first of all, no one's denying there was no arguments. No one's denying there was no people interpret like Marcion. For example, for example, Marcion. Marcion, there was like the Jehovah's Witnesses, what they believe what they call the Arians. There were many groups that were trying to attack, interpreting it their way, and there were arguments. So of course, what the Muslims do, or scholars, alleged scholars like Bart Ehrman, which is I don't even consider him as a scholar, to tell the truth, all right, because he's been so debunked so many times, all right, and he's lied.
But there's many. There's Bruce Metzger, F.F. Bruce, Dan Wallace.
These are all modern scholars.
No, Dan Wallace is very conservative.
But these scholars.
Done right.
You're going for all these Western scholars. Have you been to the Eastern Orthodox, for example?
No,
have you been in the monasteries?
No, I haven't.
St. Catherine's? Have you been in Mount Sinai? Have you been to Mount Athos? Have you seen how the early church put the Bible together? Who put the Bible together?
Who did?
How did they put the Bible together? 1 minute. listen, let me do my role. As
Do your role, do your thing.
Of course there were arguments. Marcion, for example, just before he died, he admitted it was wrong what he was doing, separating the New Testament, the New Testament God with Old Testament God. Alright? Go and see how he's been debunked on YouTube.
I don't think he recanted from that position.
He did.
Died on that position.
He died. No, he recanted on it. You can check that.
I'll double check from what I know.
But that's one man, and he was a wealthy man, and he started interpreting it. But listen, let's go right at the very beginning. Right at the very beginning, like what you Muslims got, you got Islam.
Yeah, exactly.
Get me, bro. But so did the Christians. They have Islam. And they had eyewitnesses right at the beginning. You memorized the Quran, so did the Christians. There was an oral tradition. The sayings were in such a way written that you would remember it, like today, modern day. Oh, it's raining cats and dogs. Like you know what to say. It doesn't mean it's cats and dogs. What I'm saying is they recite the Bible, the New Testament. They knew a lot of things off by heart, but they knew the sayings and the oral traditions and the white witnesses and all this grew from a community of people, and they knew what was the truth. And then you get creeping in certain things happening years later, like Gospel of Thomas. What date is that manuscript? Do you know?
I think it's second. I think they're dated by the original one, the manuscript.
It's old.
The original one, because they say it's the. So do you want me to answer the question? Yeah. So they say that the way it's formatted would suggest that it can date as early as the 16th century.
Look at that, 6th century.
Not 60th. 6 as in
60 AD.
Yeah.
Impossible. It's not.
Because remember I told you there's 4 levels of writing.
Yeah,
one is the oral tradition which you mentioned. The other one is collection.
Check Gospel of Thomas. Just check it for the argument. Let everyone check what date is the actual earliest manuscript of Gospel of Thomas. Leave it at that. But there are many manuscripts where they've taken off. There's the Eastern Orthodox have even got, for example, the Proto-Evangelion of James, I think it is.
Proto-Gospel of James, okay.
Yes.
Peter, no.
They've got Apocrypha, hidden Gospels, hidden things. They use them for evidences.
Then you just agreeing with what? You asked me a question on this.
But
you're answering.
I understand what you're saying. But what I'm saying is that the eyewitnesses to the eyewitnesses, the community there, they knew the families before, and they knew. Let me finish that. So they remember these things. They put what was together. They had to have the councils because many things people were trying to creep in. That's why. Do you know what I mean? That's why Paul, when he went to Thessalonica, went to Corinth, and went to the other, because they started to mix things up. So you're going to have these arguments at the beginning, but you're just picking one point there, one hour.
No, there's so much. I'm just going by the questions.
And you would expect
what he's saying is for him to give you a definite answer, you have to go through the whole thing.
That's a synopsis. Now we're going to break. Every time you've asked me a question, I've tried to entertain.
No, you've got to let me finish. You've got to let me go on the roll.
Oh, you still want to finish?
Oh, no, I haven't finished. When I start finishing, this took for half an hour.
Yeah, I know. That's why. That's the only reason. I know. That's the only reason.
No. Now, people couldn't read and write in those days, normal people. So like you go in the church, the Orthodox Church, for example. I'm saying Orthodox because all the churches there are Orthodox at the moment, yeah? So you see all these icons. But on them icons you see them all around. You ever seen it in the Orthodox Church?
Sorry?
Have you seen the icons and how all these things is to teach the people the Bible because they couldn't read, this was the crucifixion, this was the resurrection. This was Jesus' baptism. This was, and you see the depictions of these things. John the Baptist, when he was beheaded. So all these things, the community knew what was going on there. Most important is something happened, the resurrection. The writings were like this, what you're saying. They don't mention more of the Christology of Jesus, being God or being divine.
My eyes are going to go here, but I'm
you carry on. But then after the crucifixion, you're seeing John, it's more Christology. He starts talking about him being a divine. People, the eyewitnesses there, they saw what was happening. crucified and back to life. That's why they died martyr's death. It's not like today you could be brainwashed, for example, or whatever. You've been told this and this, and you go and do a martyr's death. There, they actually saw what happened, and they died for their belief, like the apostles did, you see. But these things will grow as a community. You're going to have, that's why we had the councils to define everything. And these critics, right at the very beginning, there weren't many critics like this, like majority critics like this to criticise what you're saying. Anyway, we can go on and on and on and on and on, but you know your critics, you've got to look at the oldest critics, look at the date of those manuscripts, and they're quite far after.
So I'll just engage shortly, again, maybe.
Carry on.
So you know you mentioned sanad is slightly different from sanad, isnad you said, isnad, yeah?
Yeah.
So it's slightly different when we have an oral tradition, we have people behind that oral tradition, and we also have another science which examines the people in each of these.
So do we.
Yeah, so just
and we call it holy tradition actually.
Yeah, so
we don't call it man's tradition. Man's tradition is different, holy tradition is different.
So this is
oral tradition, sorry.
So I can imagine a community that are oral, even proficient. Remember, we're not talking about Jews alone. When Paul preached, he preached to the Greeks who are not oral like the Jews are. So you have to understand, one holds an oral tradition, the other one does not. And plus, even if you look at the Homeric poems that we have here, there's scholars differ as what the original poem. Now the Homeric poems in Greek society were passed down by oral tradition.
Please forgive me 1 second.
Yeah, of course.
Sorry. Don't imply that the Greeks didn't have oral tradition.
No, I just gave you one.
The manuscripts, the New Testament was in Greek. The original manuscripts are in Greek.
Yes.
Some people say Aramaic. No, you will not find Aramaic manuscripts older than the Greek manuscripts. Now you read, you can see it's from an Aramaic mind though.
Yeah, I'll get to that point.
Right, now, there were Greek-speaking Jews at that time. And most language, like English now, is all Greek.
So anyway, that society, they had an oral tradition, but what we know from that oral tradition, it was not like the Jewish oral tradition.
Why?
Now, because let me just go on floor. So the oral tradition that we have of the Bible, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, the early church fathers do describe two Gospels. Papias in particular, he talks about two, if I'm correct, One of them is Mark and one of them is Matthew. They prefer the Matthean priority, meaning that Matthew was the first of the four Gospels. Modern scholars say something different, you probably already know. They say a Markian priority, meaning the old church fathers believe Matthew was the first Gospel to written. However, scholars generally almost unanimously agree Mark is the first Gospel.
Say?
Yeah?
And when did
so this is what I'm getting to. So there's two quotes. They say Matthew was the first to be written, but they say Matthew was written in Hebrew, and then other people translated it who we don't know who.
Who says that?
Sorry.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And then you have to look why
This is church fathers. I'm not a drug dealer. Don't look
Do you know the mullahs? Sorry, the mullahs.
No, there's no mullahs.
In the mosque?
No sort of mullahs.
Sometimes they don't all agree.
So here you go. Here.
Whatever it's called, I don't know what you call it.
What's it? No,
in the mosque.
Yeah, it's Papias. Yeah, this is what I said, Papias, Matthew had collected the oracles or sayings of Christ in Hebrew. How's it going, English, man? Leave him, George. Because you asked me where I got this from, so here it is. Yes,
I don't want to carry on talking because I'm going to end up being a Muslim, and I'll be careful, I'm getting scared.
So then Matthew wrote the oracles.
Don't be scared.
Now you have to know what oracles mean as well, but in our own time,
Who's
So Matthew, this is Papias, church father of.
What date? Is that manuscript?
Very important. Yeah, it is. But this is
what?
Yeah.
First century.
This is I think his 125 to 150 is what they say. Yeah. But this is one of the earliest statements that we have on the compilation of Matthew. Why?
Eusebius before him.
He got it from the
No,
elders.
Eusebius was later, and he quotes him.
Got it from the
and he
elders.
got it from John. Oh my, this is why he did this next to me. And he quotes, it's a conflated sanad, isnad. He claims that he got it from John the Elder. John the Elder passed it down to someone, and then it gets to Papias. Then it's quoted by Eusebius.
Yeah.
So it's a conflated isnad. But anyway, he said there, this is why the church fathers believe Matthew was the first one to be written. But read what it actually says. So then Matthew wrote the oracles. Now people have argued oracles, same as the word logia, yeah, because it's another statement about which means sayings. And this is why I told you that the Gospels, the Gospels, if they evolved in four stages: the oral stage, the collection stage, the proto-gospel stage, and the gospel stage. So the first one was the oracles, or like you say, how do you pronounce it? Logia.
The word, the sayings.
The sayings, yeah. So in the Hebrew language, and everyone interpreted them as he was able.
Yeah.
So 1 second.
But
I'll just make the point that I was asking. The Matthew we have, however, one, it's not written in Hebrew.
Exactly.
1 second. So the Matthew we have is not the Matthew that they were talking about was the first one written.
No.
In fact, the Matthew, 1 second, I'll build the argument properly, yeah? It is based, what we understand of the Matthew in the New Testament today is based on the synoptic tradition, which is that they're seen as the same. Optic meaning seen.
Yeah.
Seen is like put together.
Yeah.
Synoptic. What are the synoptic gospels? Matthew, Mark, Luke. And then John is the other one, which is not the same. Irenaeus, I think he says this is known as the spiritual gospel. So John does not fall in the synoptic gospels. Now when we study the synoptic gospels, we get the synoptic problem. And what is the synoptic problem? In Luke and Matthew. Remember, Matthew is supposed to be the first one, but the problem arises, Luke, Matthew and Mark have words, ideas and sequences of those in the same order. Now Mark, 80% of Mark is found in 40% of Luke, word for word. So it cannot be simply maybe, it's an opinion, they're literally copying a document, and scholars believe that document is also, it's a Q document, is also written on by paper. So they say the solution is there's two source theory and there's four source theory. So they're saying that Matthew and Luke is based on Mark, and they have another one which is called the double tradition, the Q source. Now if Matthew is the same as the Matthew Papias is saying, which Papias is saying is the first one, why is it the Matthew we have today is copying of Mark, which is not an eyewitness? And the one, no, this is what scholars say.
Yeah, that's what
this is their argument. Now the Mark one, it says, I think it's Papias as well. Yeah, if you want me to pull that out, I'll pull it out.
No,
because I've shown you everything every time.
You're going too much.
Too fast.
And I can't take it anymore. No, we said good up to there. Let's hang it in there. You're very good. Let's go
the
slowly.
the Mark and Matthew we have today is not the Mark and Matthew
We're
they
going to address
attested.
that. Let's go back. So he said it was in Hebrew, Matthew, yeah?
The oracles,
written
or
in
as you said, logia, which are saying.
The lawyer was written in Hebrew.
Lawyers, I said lawyer.
Yeah. Lawyer, not
lawyer, you're saying.
So now these, he said Matthew's written in Hebrew, yes?
Yeah.
Where is that manuscript? The oldest manuscript is in Greek.
Exactly. That's why this is what
Wait a minute.
argue my point.
1 minute. So he's claiming
the one we have is
in Hebrew.
Greek.
Yeah. 1 minute. Hang in.
Sorry, George.
The one written in the one. I go on a roll and then he cuts.
My man. You know what? I appreciate you in this conversation.
No. Listen.
It's a nice conversation.
The one we're just talking, yeah. So he said it was written in Hebrew, but yet there's no Hebrew manuscript around. We don't know if there was a Hebrew manuscript. That Hebrew manuscript he's referring to is later, because the Greek manuscript, what I know, they got fragment in Magdalene University in Oxford, and there's got fragment Soviet, and right early, or Kyrios, the Lord. They refer to Jesus. That's a big thing. That's very big. John Stanton book. Look it up, although it's been kind of refuted, but their manuscripts, hang in there, what happened in 70 AD?
Jerusalem was wiped out.
don't you think they would have mentioned that in their manuscripts?
If
That big event, if they were written later on. These are all written long before 70 AD. Otherwise they would have mentioned all this demolition in Rome. Isn't it?
Well, the scholars do suggest that.
No, forget what scholars say, man. I don't listen to scholars.
Don't build your argument, sorry.
This is very important. So, Matthew, Mark, Luke and John. Big event, demolish all of Jerusalem. They would have mentioned that in them documents. They don't mention it. Very quiet.
Okay, but what
because
would be the point that
the
you're
point
suggesting
is,
now?
these were written down before 70 AD.
Okay.
All right, and we have fragments of them around.
Okay, let's go by
Hanging
this.
there.
Yeah?
Second century.
So, forget 2nd century. We're going right.
Let's see what he's saying. Let's see. Sorry.
So my
Let's
point
see what
is,
his argument is.
my point is, they're referring to a Hebrew document written in Hebrew, Matthew. That could be a Hebrew document dated later on, not there at that time. Now, what's the other thing you were talking about?
It was just logia or however you pronounce it. Yeah. So here, So your point was.
Watching, no.
You're
But basically, it's a good point I'm saying, So these manuscripts must have been written before 70 AD.
So yeah.
And there are fragments, a lot of arguments to prove about them. So there was a church father, I think it's not Eusebius, then it was someone else. Show me the Plymouth, the younger.
This is the one, from John. This is the one I
What
quote.
date is that? There was one very,
He
very
keeps the
early.
isnad which you're talking about goes to John there.
But they said that there's no reason why we shouldn't believe the Gospels, the names attributed to those Gospels.
Okay, let's deal with one. Let's do one because we're talking about Matthew. Now here what we have, and it says the logia, which are sayings. That's exactly how we know that the first process of Jesus' statements were in the formation of the Gospels. There were sayings, collections, proto-Gospels, and then Gospels.
And he's talking to us and we write them sayings down. That's why he spoke. Sorry to go on. I'm sorry.
No.
That's why he was saying in rhymes, not rhymes, like
poems and
the way he spoke.
It's
a story and all that. So we knew, and we all write them down now. And then we come in, we give it to people.
I got that.
So who knows what to put there?
Okay, excellent.
It was great from all the community what agreed to put them down.
Excellent. So now we have Matthew. And this is what the argument for Matthean priority is, that it's the earliest gospel, and the basis of that is this statement from Papias, which comes in Eusebius, and that's the reason that the church fathers believe in. Now you can say no, that's wrong, but this is what you base your whole argument on. Don't listen to modern scholars say. So it's like you're shooting down your own argument. I'm saying that modern scholars are saying that you have this synoptic problem. Mark is the first one according to them written, but the older scholars say Matthew is written first, and the reason they say Matthew is written first is because of this statement. And even when you look at the word sayings, this is exactly what we know of how the Gospels were made, so it makes sense. But however, the Matthew we have now is not the Matthew they had then. The Matthew then was written in Hebrew. The Matthew now
just because he mentions it. And yet there's no manuscript.
Well, do you not believe what they said?
I told you, Magna University, but there's fragments there.
He's a church father. He's a church father, and this is this is your argument.
All church fathers don't agree.
But George, this is your argument. George, this is your argument. This is your argument. You see, it's not my argument. My argument with modern scholars, we look through language and understand through corpus linguistics and stylistics and the study of language. First gospel is Mark. Thereafter, Mark is Matthew and Luke. This is called the Markian priority. Yours is the Matthean priority based on what the church father says. And what the church fathers said is this. But if you doubt this, then you shoot down your whole pack of cards or house of cards comes crumbling down, which I don't mind anyway.
I don't gamble, but
and then not only that, you have the statement of Mark as well. They say the same thing of Mark. Mark wrote down the logia of Peter. Now again, what we have, and he says he wrote it in any order. If we find the quote, when you have time at home, maybe watch the videos and find that statement in regards to the first Mark that we have. It's not the Mark that we have today. The Mark of that time, if you read what it says, it was just sayings in an unordered, because this is the way that Kirai or something, I'm not sure about Greek, Peter spoke in Kiro or something, and Mark wrote down in an unassembled order. So read exactly the same word, because I don't want someone to say, oh, that's not exactly how to say it. And you see what the mark we have though is an order. And not only is it just kiro or logii, it's also a narrative, meaning that the Gospel of Mark we have today is not the Gospel of Mark they had before. And this is not something strange. The church fathers, the church fathers, they mention all the differences. Like we always mention this difference, like when in the John 17 verse 3, it's eternal life that you should know the one true God and Jesus Christ who He sent. We know church fathers could not.
Stop there. This is very important. Please dig into this one. We believe in one true God and Jesus Christ. The Greek, if you know the Greek, and I'm not claiming now I know this, but I heard it from proper scholars, Greek professor scholars, that end, A and D, the way it's said in that context, doesn't mean, oh, there's God and there's Jesus. It means they are one as one. It means as one. So now, explaining all this, I can't tell you.
Okay.
But look at that.
Let's move to because we've talked a lot of this. I could keep going.
Leave all that. All I want to know, where can I find all this, what you're saying?
Let's talk about this one. 17 verse 3, This isn't the only place in John. If you read in John 5 verse 43, it speaks about Father being the only God. So it's not the only place. Even then, if we read at the head of every, Jesus, this is what Paul says, and this is the difficulty. You have Unitarian Christians who are looking at the Bible.
That's why I'm going to stop you there. That's why I believe it's not. John came later,
The Gospel of John you're talking about. Yes.
What you're talking about here is what, from where?
Oh, this is from Paul's writing, which is the earliest.
Yeah, but John's come after. Why? It's only natural. They don't. Nice to meet you. That's why, after the crucifixion, they weren't too much the Christology, but the divinity of Jesus. After the... Sorry, I'm coming in. Sorry, I'm coming in.
Israelites will return to take down Islam.